All right. So the next thing that we also need to think about when we have objects is equals method. So when we have normal objects like numbers, so when we have other data types like numbers, comparison is not an issue because you just use this double equal sign and then you check whether they are the same or not, or which one is greater than equal or which one is lesser. It's so simple. But when you have an object, now that answer is not that easy. Like, think about it. Like, I have a desk class. Okay, so I have desk objects or table objects. Then how can I compare them? Like, based on their area, their height, their price, what is my criteria to compare these two different objects? Or I would like to compare the students. Okay, like, when can I say that they are equal? When should I say it? Like, if I would want to compare them, like, should I base on maybe their name? So maybe alphabetical order. Should it be based on their years, GPA? I don't know. So this is something that I should decide. It's not now any easy comparison like these two things are same, but I have to say that when I will think them they are same. Or for the students again. So what should I consider about to make them same? So this is also a decision that I have to give. So for that one, that's why we also define equals method. We will talk about it later on when we also see the inheritance topic, but for now, so you might also need to, when you create an instance, a class, let's say a student class, then you might also need to define an equals method to say that, okay, I will consider these two objects equal if their name and IDs are same, for instance. So what is my criteria to think that these two objects are same? So in this example, so what we are doing is, for instance, we have a student object, or actually let's also do it in our class that we had also this student class here. So let me zoom in a little bit. So here also we had the student name and GPA, for instance. But of course, usually, like, many students can have the same name. So that's why actually we also have this ID. So I also would like to put ID also. Then, of course, I need to update the constructors for it. But for now, I will skip that part and I will just focus on the equals part. And normally we do not put the equals function here, but just to make it similar so that you can see both, I will write it here, okay? So I need to define an equals function, which will return basically a Boolean value, whether they are equal or not. And the name is, you can say, for instance, equals, and then it will take another student object. So my goal, what I'm trying to say is, like, I need to compare, like, is this student or that student, like, because I might need it many times, like, maybe I have a section, I'm adding students already, then I have a list of students, then there's a new student who wants to enroll in, then I need to check already with the already enrolled students, is that student in the class already? So how can I do it? I need to use this equals function. Is that student? Is that student? Is that student? So I will use this equals function actually in many cases. So that's why I need it. So then, when we are defining these kind of methods, this is kind of a bit tricky because in this slide, well, we have some cases, but actually it doesn't cover everything, to be honest. We will do it here. But first, what is our criteria? Well, probably we won't compare GPA. That's would be weird. But we can basically say if its ID equals to the student's ID. Here, now, I will do actually an incorrect code here. I will later on fix this part, okay? But for now, I will use this double equal sign to say that if its ID equal to this one. If they are same, okay? So what do I say here? This dot ID, which means that ID of this class, the class that I am comparing, if it is equal to this, the ID of the student that I gave as a parameter. Okay? And well, is this needed? Well, actually, it is not. I could also do it here and still Java would understand that, okay, when I say ID, I mean the ID of this class. But just to make things even more clear, I'm just writing this. Then, well, if they're equal, you can say that, okay, I would like to return true. Else, I would like to return false. So this is my function. And then where will I use it? Well, basically, now let's go to, I would like to make this public for just simplicity, okay? And maybe we need one more. I also need to change this constructor so that we will set the ID, okay? So that I will say this dot ID is equal to ID. And now, okay, I think we are all set. Oh yeah, here it is. There's one more mistake that because of our previous code. Anyhow, I made a very quick and change for it just to stop the compiler to complain. Now I have this. Now I'll go to our main object, main class. Let me zoom in also a bit here. I will remove this code. I will zoom in more even. Now let's create two students objects. So here is what I will use this code. So I have one student S1. So with new student and its ID is.
Totally, how many class we have in this code?
How many classes we have?
Yes, in this code.
Well, this is the part that I just use it to run. This is my test class, and for now I just created student and rectangle classes. But for now I'm using the student class one, okay, as a definition. So it's his ID, name, and also the GPA, and also I need one more student to say and so, okay. So we have these two students, and well, basically how I can use it is just if you want to print it, I will just say s1 dot equals s2. So this is how I'm planning to use it, okay. So the result should be false, but let's just run it to be ensured about it. Yeah, now it returns false. Now here is the thing. When we are designing these kind of methods, you need to also consider the edge cases. Like, and you need to think about, okay, when can not be, is there a possibility that my code will crash? Like when everything is given correctly, it will run correctly. But what if, because now, what if this null, this S2 student, what if it was null, okay? That's null. Then I gave it as a null object. Then what will happen? Like when I save this file and then run it, okay, my program crashed. So because I didn't handle this kind of a case. So when we are designing these kind of, when we are writing codes for functions that others will use, that many people can use in different scenarios, then I need to be more careful about it. Because, okay, when I get the data as expected, it works fine. But what if it doesn't? Like, because when I give here a null value, what is happening here is, then from a null value, I'm trying to access this ID from ID of an object that doesn't exist. So null means that there is no object, but I'm trying to access its ID. So I should, for these cases, I should also consider this, like, okay, if S is null, then yeah, return false. So if the object doesn't exist, yeah, they cannot be equal then, so I can just return false. But when I'm designing these cases, I should also put these kind of cases. So now I will run my code again. So I will go to here again, and now it should work, and again it should say false. And then, well, I'll go back to, now I fixed that problem, and I want to do one more thing. Okay, what if their ID is same? Let's make it their name also same. Whatever. But I have these two same objects, okay? So let's see what will happen. It returns true now when the IDs are same. But is this exactly a very correct answer? I'm not actually that much sure. So I'll do a trick here. I will say ID 1 is equal to new string. Oh, actually I will do it in this way. This is 1, this is 2, and I put here ID 1, I put here ID 2, okay? So both have the same value. I just put them as a variable, and then I'll just run my code again. I got the true again. But now, I'm not done, and this was still expected. Now I will change this part. I will write it here, new string 1, and I will also put here new string 1. This is just another way of defining a string. I created a string object which has the value of 1. So again, they both have the value of 1. I'm giving them as IDs. Now let's run our code and see what will happen. Okay, now I got false. So what did change here is, do you have an idea why did we get false? Do you have any educated guess about it? Like so when I do it, it also creates a string with the value of 1, but yeah, there are two separate strings. And this is the code that returns us false. You can inspect the code if you want, and then what might be the case that we are getting false at this point. So the ID, yeah, we are getting some interesting results here. So for some reason, it's not considering it same. So their values are 1, but the thing is here, if you remember when I was writing this code, I said that I'm actually doing here a mistake, an incorrect code. So now let's fix it. When you are comparing strings, you also have to use equals method that is defined for the string. We cannot use this double equal sign, and I will explain it later on, but let's see if it works now. When I do this, and I'll go to my code again, now it should give me the value of true. Yes, now it gives me true. So here is what is happening. When I have I will delete it for now. Even these two strings, if I use ID1 equal sign ID2, okay? Let me just print it actually. Yeah, let me just print it. That would be easier. Are they equal or not? This is just what I'm printing, okay? And then it will give me false. Yes, it will give me false. So this is because when we are using, where is that code? Yeah. When we are using this double equal sign, Java compares their memory address location. So when I say new string, I'm telling Java that, okay, give me a separate location from the memory that I'll keep string. And then when I said, okay, when I said again one more time, then it gives me another address location. And we put the same values, but they are stored in different locations. So when I use double equal sign, it compares these two address locations. They are different. So Java says that no, they are not same object. They are different object. Their values are same, but if you want to compare their values, again now we have to use this equals function that is also defined like we did for the student class. We for the student class we define an equals function. For the string also, for the string class there is a function called equals. So if you want to compare their values, then you should use this equals function. Then you'll get true.
Isn't functions for getting the values from memory?
Functions are
Functions or operators.
so they are getting the values from the memory, yes. But when we are saying memory, we have actually two things. First, a memory address, the address of that part and its value, like human beings. Like I'm living at in a house, so it has an address, and the value is the home itself. So every home has an address. So in the memory also, we keep the values, but for each value we have also an address. So to find that value.
But can't I get this values directly by calling the class of string ID one dot value, for example, or
Oh, yeah. So this is normally, yeah. When we use these variables, it gives us the value that we kept in the memory. But this is basically how this equal sign, double equal sign works. It doesn't change the values. When I print, when I print S1, it will not print its memory address location. It will print the value that is kept in that location.
Doctor, my question is it like C language?
Is it like C? Yeah, okay, that's a more advanced question. In C, yeah, we have to. We don't have in C. We don't have this n sign or asterisk sign to have the memory location in Java. So we don't get access to that part. We are not able to. We don't write this memory location address. In C, yes, you can. You can get the memory location of a variable. But in Java we are not doing it. So yeah, this is for the ones who have never written in C. So yes, in C you have to memorize your memory. So you allocate memory yourself, you deallocate it, and by you can even go with the memory operations. So you have more control, but it is much more. I mean, if you know it, that's great, but it is a much more technical, harder language compared to Java. In Java, that side is hidden from the developer side. So we do not have pointers in Java. In C we have. So you are not worried about how to handle the memory in Java. So it's hidden. It's easier, but of course we have less control on that from that side.
So I have if we put the ID in the class, if we make it integer instead of strings, we will have this problem.
No, we won't. So if we have an integer, that will be int, then we can use these double equal signs. This double equal sign, well, my short answer is, if you want to compare objects, don't use double equal signs. Use equals function for that. But if you have these primitive data types, like float, boolean, integer, int, double, then you can use this double equal sign. All right, shall I proceed? And the other popular method is compareTo. Well, when we see interfaces in the following weeks, I will talk about this compareTo method again. But again, when you define methods, another function that you might need is how to compare two objects. Now, you're not looking for are they equal or not, but you are looking for, okay, if I rank them, which one is better? Which one should come first? So again, for the students, for instance, if we have the students, and I want to compare students, like, okay, what is my criteria to do that? I can compare them based on their names, if I want to sort them based on the names in a lexicographical order. Or maybe I want to find who achieves the best, and so then I might need to compare them based on their GPAs. So when you have this an object, again, now comparison is not that easy. Like if you have numbers, is 3 greater than 5? No, it's not. So it's very easy question. But is student S1, now the term would sound weird, like greater than student S2 or better than S2? So what is better? What makes a student better than the other? And you can apply this to anything. Like I have two tables. Okay, I want to compare them based on what? Based on their price, based on their weight, based on their, I don't know, area they need, and so on and so on. So there are many criteria that I can use. So for those cases, we also need to define how to compare two objects. Again, if I have student objects, And then, how would you compare it? Well, there's this comparison method is actually a famous method that returns an integer value. It's because of a comparable interface that we will see in the following weeks that I will explain it. But basically, it has this kind of a notation, like we compare it and then we return it either a positive number, a negative number. If they are same, we return it 0. So this is, if you want to compare them with their ID, like ID of this class and ID of the class that is given as a parameter, if one of them is greater than 1, okay, greater than the other, then return 1. Otherwise, return -1, and so on. And then we will use it again to compare the, in this case, students. But again, you can do this comparison based on GPA, based on, I don't know, name, whatever is needed. But at the end of the day, we need some numbers to say that, okay, this is better than that student, or this table is more expensive than this, better than this. So this should come first, or other one should come first. So we need to also define how we will compare our objects. Any questions so far? We need to define, like when you are designing an object, you also need to think about how to compare them. So this is actually what is needed. Like you have an e-commerce platform, you want to compare the products. Which one, your comparison might be based on price, based on shipping cost, based on item weight, based on its category, I don't know. So, but we have to define it because it's not straightforward.